I'm Janiece Struble, and this is one of my grace stories. I got married when I was really young, and God called me to have kids when I was really young, thankfully. We had a lot of problems conceiving, but we had surgeries and fertility meds, and we were able to have babies, thankfully. And God called me to be a stay-at-home mom. The whole time that I was a stay-at-home mom, I knew that that's where I needed to be at that moment in my life, but I knew that there was a greater calling. I knew my kids were gonna get old, they were gonna get their own jobs, they were gonna have their own lives, and I prayed almost every night. It was my prayer, God, what do you want for me? Like, what is my calling? What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to be? So I took my mom one day into a hospital. She had some back problems and needed some x-rays on her back. And when I was walking down the hall, the Lord dropped it in my heart. He's like, you are gonna be an OB tech. Like, you're gonna be a sonographer. That's what you're called to do. So I kind of held on to that, and I prayed about it, and I'm like, maybe now's my time. So I went and enrolled in school and went through all of the process that you have to go through. And so I knew it was gonna be like a really long road. And so I went ahead and signed up, started with MSU, and got probably 3 weeks into it, and the stress was just intense. And I couldn't handle it. And the Lord like kind of backed me off, and he's like, not now. You need to slow your roll. And so I waited another like 2 years, and it came up in my heart again. Like, you need to pursue it again. I'm like, okay, Lord, I'm just gonna give this to you because I don't know if this is my calling, if this is what you really want me to do. Is now the time? I had all of those built up anxieties from last time I withdrew. So I didn't know if I was jumping the gun again. I'm like, just give it to the Lord. Well, I had my interview and I was accepted into the program, and I was like, okay, I guess we're going, here we go. I later found out that my teacher was like, we absolutely loved you. As soon as we hung up the phone, we said she's in, which I didn't know. So all of that anxiety of like, the Lord just totally went before me, gave me favor. The Thanksgiving right before I graduated, I fell in love with a high-risk office. Like, I fell in love with the people that were there. I went in and they said, this lady is quitting, please take her job. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of crazy because these people stick around, they don't go. And it just happened to be that the time I needed a job, this lady that had been there for years was leaving, and they had an opening. And God like placed me there, and the environment is like exactly where I'm supposed to be. And the really cool part is my husband told me after I graduated, he's like, babe, do you remember when we were dating and you know, we were 15, 16, you told me that you wanted to be an OB sonographer, and look at you, you're doing it. And I'm like, I didn't even remember that. But I think it's really crazy like how God like works that back around. And so my goal for you to know, or my mission for you to know, is that God has a plan and he has a purpose, and you just gotta trust in him and see where it leads you, because his plan is bigger than anything you can imagine. And when you're in life and you're struggling, and just give it to God, because he's got a plan for you, and one day it'll come back around. So it's pretty neat.